Well, here we are in the Southern Highlands of New South Wales.
Smell that air.
And this is where we're going to kick off episode 9 of DustemUp. We're going to be working our way all the way through the Southern Highlands. And I'm really looking forward to this too, because it's been very dry and very bushfirey for quite a while. And then, like Australia always does, it chucked it down. I'm looking forward to my first river crossing in a while, because I've got a feeling we'll be floating them.
I've got my mud boots on.
I can see that.
This trip is taking place in the pristine Southern Highlands of New South Wales. Starting off at the River Island Nature Retreat, we explore the infamous Wimbian Cave Road and the Wallandilli River Station. After the rain gets the better of us, we track south to Brindabella Ranges.
Hey Gleno, sure is good to be back in the Southern Highlands, eh?
Mate, it is. I haven't been down this way before, so anything you show me is going to be new.
I think the Southern Highlands, you know, it's a big name, but it kind of represents a whole lot of Australia that's just over the mountain range. You know, it's very much the same sort of country all the way, north and south. If there's a difference that I've noticed over the years, it's the fact that the core parts of the Southern Highland, because they're so close to Sydney, they seem to be attracting a whole new bunch of trendy people. There's lots of vineyards and there's lots of coffee shops, but all you got to do is get a little bit beyond them and you're back in the real bush. It's just fantastic. And I've got a big first day plan for you, mate.
Please enlighten me.
Well, step number 1, or stop number 1, is a nudist colony, clothing optional.
Woohoo! Looking forward to this one.
This is River Island. This is actually one of the best four-wheel driving properties in this part of New South Wales. So the clothing optional thing, that's just one end of it, mate. And that's entirely up to you.
No, I didn't feel like getting my clothes off. I wouldn't do that to anybody.
I know you guys will be disappointed, but we'll have to leave that one for a special edition of Dust-em-Up. I decided it was best to park up the caravan for these next tracks.
This track we're heading down, Gleno, leads to where they used to hold the old Nissan trials back in the good old days.
Did you say the Nissan trials?
I think it was the Nissan trials. I know I've never actually been to the trials here, but we used the course a few times for tyre testing in the day and four-wheel drive of the year testing back in the old days.
Wow, so this place has been around for a long time then.
I've got a long history with River Island, mostly because of its proximity to Sydney. It was where, in the old days, a whole lot of four-wheel drive testing used to take place. So we would go up there and camp a couple of nights or whatever and just go testing on those little tracks. Some of the bigger tracks too, but the best thing about the little tracks was that you could take half a dozen vehicles through the same course and get a really good idea as to how they were different, you know.
Good to see Milo flex like it does. Milo too is a bit of a weapon actually. It's good to see I think John's got the secret recipe of leaf spring suspension. I don't know if he knows how he worked it out, but he's worked it out on 2 Milos anyway. It just does this flexy thing. It's good to watch. HiLux did well on the all-terrains. Just good fun, you know, not going to break anything.
Now I'm going to give it a crack in the HiLux.
This has got a very, oh, here we go. Oh, there we go. Into the trench. It had a very steep erosion gully on the left-hand side there where the left wheel goes. I was trying to avoid it, but it got too slippery. But that's all right, because I think it sort of bounced off the spec wheel at the back. Oh. I actually remember this slope from 15 years ago when we tested the hill descent control in the new Land Rover Discovery, and it cost us a rear quarter panel back there.
Oh yeah. Bit of wheel on the air action.
Thankfully, the canopy clears the side easily.
Bit of a rut up there.
Bit of a rut, but no dramas.
No.
Not even close to the side. River Island, I mean, it's a fascinating place. From the four-wheel driver's point of view, there's a reason why it's so popular, you know, because it's got some great little slopes, it's got some great big slopes. I'm going to put my rear locker on right now. Let the old girl work her way up, I hope. I say hope because the traction's a bit intermittent, to say the least. Tyre's a good day, 20 PSI, probably could have been a bit less than this, she's working a bit.
Drove the 12 HT, she sounds awesome.
Beautiful.
See if Luxy can do the same. Certainly sounds a little bit different than the 12 HT. Oh no. Oh, back to the bottom for another crack. Rub the bank a little bit there.
Too wet. You're going to have to go the other way. It's too wet. That was fun.
I'm not even going to attempt those hogs that John went. Tried to.
Just going to reverse up and try a different wheel placement altogether. Let's see how this goes.
Oh, it's bitten me.
Well, there's two things you got to look out for with river crossings. You know, two things that make them really dangerous. One is depth. I mean, if that wasn't the case, we'd all drive to Tasmania, wouldn't we? So that's a bit obvious. The other is the speed the water's travelling at. And this is a prime example. There was 8 inches, 130, 40 mil of rain here just yesterday. And you can see the pace that the water's coming through. In fact, the river is actually right over there. This is just the creek bed normally to get to the crossing. And if you look, you can see the way the water is piling up on the high side of the trees and then washing around and off like that. You can imagine what that's going to do to a car that just drops into a little bit of a hole. It might not even be that deep, just needs enough to pick it up by the doors and the sill and push it. And then you might wind up in the deep stuff. Now, what you got to remember is this is Australia, which means that rivers like this today, because we're up high and it rained a lot yesterday, 2 days before that it was a string of mud puddles, and there's a fair chance that in a day or two the water level will have dropped right back down to where it normally is and we can drive across in 3 foot of water. But not today.
Our plan is to skirt around the edge of the river and take another track back. Even though we weren't able to cross the river, this is a 2,000 acre property and there's plenty to see this side of it. There are some real beaut campsites around this place. The owners also have a heap of powered sites, and if you're real scared of the cold, you might want to choose a log cabin.
I must be getting shorter. It's harder to see over the bonnet. I always like to pick the bits that got a few rocks under them for traction. Pity we couldn't get off the river or over the river. Never mind, I'll tell you what, we saw plenty of excitement this side of it.
Oh wow, well no, that water rushing through like there's no tomorrow. Really nice to see. But yeah, like you said, we've got the mountain stuff around here. I've never been here. Would be really good to see those tracks.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, it's tough enough just getting in and out, isn't it really? I mean, if it was much wetter, at least it's got good traction, this zigzag.
Yeah, it does. I've still got my tyres down.
Yeah, me too. I'll pump them up the top, I reckon, when we get going. But I reckon we head off to Wimbian Caves, hey? Go have a look.
Another adventure. Could be another good day. Look at that, the sun's out, sky's blue.
The Wimbian Caves Road in the day, you know, when it was carved originally as a mule track into the side of the hill, must have been absolutely incredible. Now, I've seen it slightly widen over the years and get slightly safer on some of the corners, but by crikey, you know, when it rains there, when there's a little bit going on, especially after these bushfires and then a little bit of rain and the rest of it, you get rock falls like no tomorrow there. This is one of the most potentially dangerous roads in Australia. So take it easy when you go through there. That's the trick, otherwise you probably won't come back.
There were some challenges thrown in there already. A lot of because of the rains that had been there, the banks had washed away in a few areas. A couple of that were really tight turns. There was water rushing through there. There was boulders all over the road. It was a bit dicey in areas, particularly with the van on the back. Had to take a couple of shots at a few of these corners. That was on the way to Goodman's.
This is the river crossing on the Wallandilli and Goodman's Ford Bridge. Over the years, that crossing at Goodman's Ford, I've seen it go from a ford, which was literally just rocks underneath the river, to a concrete weir, to a better concrete weir, to what it is today. I got my window open. I'm pretty sure it's all right. Most of the water's going underneath, you can see that. But you never know, there could be a hole in here somewhere. So I'm looking for, you know, radically different turbulence in the water, of which I can't see any.
Oh, can't be too bad. Milo's still there. Wow, that's amazing. And it was another probably 20 metres per side up the bank yesterday by the looks of that. Got to dodge a few logs coming over the side.
There you go. Too easy. Breathe again.
The water was rushing, but it's got slowed down on the weir. No dramas at all. No pushing. It was safe.
Wow. Whoa. This is insane. There must have been so much water come through here in such a hurry because it has shifted rock. Major shift.
Some of the crossings, some of the forward driving and boulder crossing that we had to do was amazing. Amazing forward driving, good fun, but it's getting worse. What were we in for?
Oh, lots of rock here. Oh, good old girl. Keep going.
The problem with
well, not the problem, but the constraints with this are to get your car in a good spot. Your trailer normally is not in the ideal spot.
Last thing you want to do is jump up in the air in a bit of a hurry here and land down on a diff smacker or something, you know, or slide over the edge. All good stuff to not do.
That's my zone royale. I'm going to take care of it. It's my bed. Come on, baby. Just a little bit of momentum here. Scrabbly. The Lucky's doing it. No dramas, really. Got to look after me swag on the back, mate.
Nice shot, mate.
Oh, that was pretty good, actually.
And then after battling it out with several corners that were a little bit iffy, you know, and lots of rocky crossings and all sorts of things, and then we found that the road was cut off.
It was a good 3 metres wide. There was no way anyone was going to rebuild this road without a bulldozer or some sort of excavator. Getting out of there was fun, I tell you. What that meant, I had to reverse back. I reckon I reversed back a good 2 kilometres before I could get to a spot to put the van into a bank, unhitch, spin it around on John's winch. It was that tight. It was just one of those times where you had to be switched on.
Righto. Well done, mate. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, that could have gone horribly wrong, and it didn't, which is really good.
Best laid plans, eh? John and I have been on enough trips together to just roll with the punches. Looking at the map, there's a station back along this road that John's been to before, so we decided to head there instead.
A long time ago, I camped at Wallandilli River Station, and I met Brian. I hadn't caught up on the story though. I was a long way behind it. So when we met Ina, his wife, it was great in a way that we had the time to talk. Now, right from the start, I thought there's something slightly unusual here, and what the unusual was I believe that Ina was probably suffering from a little bit of PTSD. Not that she's been through a war, but she's pretty much been through the nearest thing to it. First of all, drought, years and years of it. Dried the place right up. Then the heat, and with the heat came the bushfires. And Ina tried her hardest to save this area, which she did. She got through the drought, she got through the bushfires. When the rains came, which they always do, flood, massive flood. Now, where I'm standing is right on the edge of what used to be a little creek, and all that was vegetable garden, fully self-sustained for years, planted 15 or more years ago, okay? And look now, the soil's gone. Where it used to be camping is just covered in dirt. This is the devastation, the havoc that nature does to itself. It's going to take years and years to come back from this. 10, 15 years into the marriage, Brian started to get crook, and seriously crook. She did some amazing things during that period. She kept the camping ground going, she kept her vegetable garden going, she managed to hold the place together, you know, very tough woman. It must have been an absolute hell trip for her, really, especially to see her partner in life go the way he did. And eventually he died in that little 2-room house, 1880s cottage, and she's still there, and she's still solid, and she's still not going away. She's amazing, she really is. She had no internet, no phone, no contact with the outside world. When we left, she gave me a letter to give to one of her friends, just to let her know that she was okay. Man, that kind of stuff makes you want to cry, but it makes you proud at the same time. You know what? You get a chance, go camping there. Spend a few dollars with Ina. She doesn't charge a lot. Meet an amazing Australian. Well, get a load of this. We drove through here 2 hours ago, And this is about where the production 80 series was sitting, high and dry. It was dry all the way through. Well, look,
50 metres that way.
50 metres that way, it was still dry. 2 hours, no rain. This water's come from Goulburn probably. Nothing for it but to hang around here for a while and hope that it goes down as quick as it came up. You know, like it was up and really up. It had come up, I'm guessing, but I'm thinking probably the best part of half a metre or more, which put it over the concrete blocks.
There's no way we could cross. 6 hours we waited there for it to be safe enough to cross. And even then, it's debatable whether it was safe or not. But we were stranded. We had to get out of there. Done some silly things. This is one of them. John, if that trailer needs to go higher, mate, it's still got a little bit left in it, so just yell at me.
Yeah, no worries, mate. It's pretty bloody high. I'd be surprised if you get much lift off that, but we'll see. What made me think we could do it, I guess, I knew from talking to the locals like Ina that it had been in drought for ages. When a concrete ford is in drought, no water's crossed it for a long time, there's no growth on it. There's no slime, there's no slippery stuff you get going with a bit of regular water, you know. And that means you've got some reasonable traction. So it had to be worth a go. Still above water, Glen.
Well, I'll get pushed around quite a bit here. Woo! This is freaky. Come on, come on. Oh, got a stick. Woohoo!
My heart is beating out of my chest. That was seriously intense.
Over the bonnet. Whoa! Water 8 inches up the antenna. I'm not at the worst bit yet. The motor's roaring away. There's water up over the windscreen now.
It's times like this you really love your snorkel.
If I had to say anything at all, it'd be, I don't recommend anyone else has a go when it's like that. You just give that another half an inch of water and it would have been a stall and a washover or something, you know. We were lucky. Oh, there's my hairbrush. What water? Gee, I'm glad we decided not to go to Abercrombie, Gleno.
Yeah, mate, good choice. Unless you're a submarine.
Yeah, well, a little bit of rain cloud isn't too bad, but when they say cyclones are coming through, I reckon where we're heading should be a whole lot better.
Yeah, it's actually dust coming off the tyres.
Wow. Okay, Brindabella's, here we come.
Yeah, I've heard plenty, haven't been there. I'm actually quietly excited about this. Well, the next day we headed west towards the Brindabellas. That drive was simply amazing. Really contrasting to what we thought we were going to end up down here, because it had been through drought and massive fires, which everyone knows about.
West of Taralga, that's sheep country. All that band of country, you know, all the way down Muswellbrook, all that sort of rolling hills. It's good land when it's not dry. It's the best sheep country in the world. In the 1950s, it was that country that powered Australia. You know, that's how come we got to build the Snowy Mountain scheme, and that's how come we got to become a country, because we had the sheep. We had the richest sheep country in the world. I love that country. It was not good to see it so dry, but the rain will come. It's got to come. It's on its way. It's kind of nice. In fact, it's wonderful when you find a different way into somewhere you've been before. And I didn't even know that there was a back entrance into the Brindabellas. In fact, I don't even know if a lot of the locals know there's a back entrance into the Brindabellas, because there's so many signs saying private road, don't go here, when it's not. It's not a private road, it's a gazetted track all the way through. But you've got to be reasonably confident to have a go at something like that. And even the fact that it wasn't shut or gated or no park signs or anything else, and to work our way in through that back track that obviously no one had been there for quite a long time. Trees across the road, branches, leaves, all the rest of it. That was great. It was just such a good thing to do. You know what a Clayton's is? A Clayton's? It's like supposedly a drink you have when you're not having a drink, which I guess is a little bit like red wine in water when you haven't got a beer. But that's all right, because tonight we're going to have a Clayton's roast lamb. Why are we doing that? Because there's a fire ban on all over the place, and even if there's not a fire ban, when it's as dry as this, conditions like this, a little bit of wind, you know, fire's not a good idea. What I'd like you to do is to imagine, to some degree, that this is a roast lamb in a cast iron pot. Instead of that, what I did was I got my butcher to chop up a whole lot of lamb leg chops, okay, so that I can cook them in a pan. And ultimately it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, this is all about achieving a really nice tasting piece of lamb that we can whack in a kebab with some very special yoghurt, and it's just going to be the ultimate lamb kebab. So it starts out, and you're going to love this if you love strong flavours, with lemon zest. Lemon zest is literally the skin off the lemon, and you just need some sort of grater, you know, fairly fine grater. Gleno had a beauty here in the zone, and you knock the skin off. You want the skin of one lemon. That's about what you'd use to cook a whole roast. There's our skin of the lemon, and then we slice the lemon in two and squeeze the juice in, which you'd do if you had a juice squeezer, or you just, you know, employ your thumbs and your fingers. I'm going to add some oregano. If you've got fresh oregano, good on ya, hanging out near the cafes. I don't. There we go. That's a fair old whack of oregano. And then we need to add some garlic. Now, normally I'd be using garlic out of a bottle, but Gleno mistakenly bought 42 bottles of chilli and forgot to buy the garlic. But that's all right, because we've got a garlic crush and we've got some fresh garlic, which is amazing. I don't know how that happened. So I'm just going to crush up some garlic. In this case, probably I'd say a couple of tablespoons of garlic. There we go. In goes about, a big splash of olive oil and a whole lot of salt. Now with that, you make up a paste. And if I was doing a lamb roast, what I would do now is I'd get the leg out and I'd score it or stab it, doesn't really matter, just break the surface, and then I'd rub this in, and then in she goes. magic. But we haven't got that. What we have got is lamb loin chops because we're going to cook them in the pan. So I'll get this pan going. Wow, that's good. Probably need to switch the gas on. Whoa! Thank you, Gleno. This gas burner has been tuned by Zeus, so it like triple performs everything on Earth. There we go. Bit of oil in there. Take the chops and dip them in what would normally be the baste for our leg of lamb. So we just get it on there, just get the flavour on there, that's all you want to do. It's really strong flavour. And because this is a kebab, ultimately we're going to be slicing it up and then sticking it into some flatbread. And once you've got most of that baste that you made on the chops or on the lamb, I've got to keep saying that, haven't I? You know, this is the Bushfire Brigade lamb roast. In they go. I reckon I can squeeze that up a little bit and get all these bits of lamb in that pan. Now that's part one. This is called Greek yogurt, okay? And for you people who've never eaten anything except sausages and white bread, this stuff's really good for you. Don't let that bother you. You can still do a few things to it to make it, you know, really punchy and worth eating. And I'm going to use about half this container of yogurt just to get a good bowl going there. That'll do. First thing I'm going to add is a good squirt of bush honey. I just got 24 hives put out in the back paddock. Yep, you know what that means, don't you? There's a new truck shed going in just beyond them and the handbrake will never go near them again. No, it means bees are good for the environment and we're going to have lots of honey soon. That's what I'm telling her. This, when I can get into it, gee, I'm not good with these packets, is chilli. It's fresh chilli in a packet. How much? Yeah, Gleno's here, lots of chilli. And this is fresh mint in a packet. You can't really have lamb without mint. Some people would say you can't really have lamb without mint and chilli and honey and yogurt. It's really simple. The only thing that's missing from that, more lemon juice. Here we go again, sticking the old thumbs in to make the juice. I shot myself. That's not good. And that makes the absolute ultimate lamb sauce. Starting to smell pretty good here. I'll just flip these over. I always know when it's working because I start to hear Gleno from behind the camera. You know, we've had our moments over the years, I'll tell you what.
That's going all right.
Smells all right?
Yeah.
Alrighty, lamb's come along. And just hook out a nice piece there. Now, if this was your roast, you'd just be doing nice thin slices. As it is, look at that. Hey, that's actually medium rare, juicy, perfect. Next thing we need is a Gleno. Oi, settle. So this is how easy it is to feed the multitude. You get some lamb.
That looks magnificent.
You like that?
I do.
Now, tomato?
Yes, please.
There we go.
A bit of maggot, you're right.
Oh, that's all right.
Cheese.
Cheese. And you got to have some of this. This is my special sauce, mate.
Okay.
Yogurt.
Righto.
There you go. You want to wrap that up and tell me what you think?
Put the bum up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look, see the classic wrap method.
That is a winner.
It's good, isn't it? It's good. Good on you guys. I'm going to chop up some more lamb, feed the multitudes. We're all good.
I've got a hot bit.
Come back for more later. Oh, I got to have one of these. It smells too good. Gleno. That wasn't a bad little camp. Nice little shower this morning. It was cool until then.
Mate, first night I had to pull the sleeping bag over the top of me. Beautiful, nice little sleep in.
Yeah, I tell you, mate, I just crashed after that land. I was absolutely knackered. I think it just topped me up and that was it. I hope it didn't come back and sort of bar black sheep on you during the night, did it?
Mate, no, it was beautiful. Nice taste and polished down, washed down I should say, with the Jamisons. Beautiful, nice tucker, mate.
Good on you, mate. Righto, well let's go adventuring.
I see you let a bit of air out of your tyres this morning, so I copied. I think that's a good move. There's a few puddles around and a few of these tracks are on the other side of a cliff. Let's get adventuring.
I love that kind of driving. It's very high country. That's the only way to describe it, you know. Little tracks, winding around the side of the hills, big drop-offs, you know. Every now and then you get this flash of fantastic view. Although there was a lot of mist in places, we were sort of flying low into the clouds. It's fantastic, it really is. It makes you glad to be alive. And then of course, it was pretty obvious right from the start that there'd been some big storms through there. There was massive trees uprooted. We got to see things we've never seen before. Oh, looks like we've got a bit of a tree in the middle of the track here, Gleno. Oh, this is a very strange one.
Yeah, it's doing some sort of a dance.
That branch, oh, that must be a huge branch, broken off that tree and landed on its snout, and it's got enough stuff around it to hold it up. I reckon I can get around the outside without causing any havoc.
Yeah, I'll watch you go through, mate, and see whether I just hit it with the bull bar.
Like a big teepee. I think it's pretty sturdy though.
Look, I reckon I'll get around that.
Well, most of those branches have got leaves on, so it's still alive.
Jeez, it'd hurt if it fell on you though.
That morning, that was cool. There's nothing much better than sticking the throttle lock on a 12HT and finding the right low range gear and just chuffing through like you're in a tractor, you know? It's a lovely feeling. What's up, Gleno?
Oh no, I'm coming.
You're moving, are you?
Yeah, just stopped there for a second and it just took off again. Well, so we've had a couple of mil of rain overnight, just wet enough on this shaly stuff, a little bit greasy, that hill, second gear low range, and I come to a stop. I'm down on 24 now, so I'm going to take it front down 16, rears to 18. Bit lucky because these tyres were at 48. Probably explains really good fuel economy on the highway.
There's a bit of downhill coming up here.
Yeah, you can see how the HiLux goes with the Expedition downhill in the slippery conditions. Could be exciting.
What are you trying to tell me, Glenn? Should I get out of the road?
Actually, no, stay there. You could be my brake.
Whoa, okay. Yeah, well, I'm just jogging along, second gear, low range, letting the mighty 12HT slow me down. This is quite steep here, mate.
Mate, it should be good. I'll use a bit of caravan brake if I need to, mate. I've only got 6 wheels braking me.
There's a very tight right-hander there, mate.
Copy the right-hander. Now to attack this one. Hit the apex. Get the van straight.
Oh, mate, you got a big other tree across the road. I think I'll get under it, but I'm not sure about you.
Oh yeah, nah.
What I'm thinking, see, a lot of it's dead.
Yeah.
These two bits are dead, but there's a live bit over there. So I reckon I'll get a winch extension strap, put it on there and back backwards, because I don't want to be pulling it with the winch. The reason I went for the strap onto that tree rather than the winch was basically because the truck was already on just about the right angle to successfully pull the tree away if the tree was going to be pulled away. And here's the issue. So it had a little bit of flex in it, like a bow and arrow. And when you get that kind of flex, with the winch, it can be very, very easy to just keep on winding, and just like one of those old Roman catapults, it'll reach a stage where something gives, you know? And sometimes that something will come flying back through the windscreen. All good, mate?
All yours.
But just using the weight of the truck with a little bit of drive, I was able to feel it as it rolled backwards. And I felt the moment when it gave and just pulled freely out of the road. Happy with that, mate?
12 HP.
If I'd have used the winch, it would have done that anyway, I guess, but we didn't know that. We could have used the winch and wound the whole thing up and then had a tension break, and I've done that enough times to not want to do it again. Exciting, isn't it? It's pretty rare that a power line track's boring.
And how about all those trees blown over the track? There must have been some wild storm through here in the last couple of days. Glad we weren't here for it.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, mate. Actually, there's a few more bits of tree here and a bit of a creek.
The power line track, wow, that was another zigzag all the way down. They clear a lot of land for these big towers to run these power lines. We went in there, it was dry, then it was a little bit of rain, then it was dry, then a lot of rain coming out. It was a cool drive, you know, up the mountain, down the mountain, just zigzagging all the way. All the good stuff you chuck yourself into and you don't know what the outcome's going to be.
Most of my four-wheel driving is about the journey, you know. There's a reason I do it in old trucks that I've mostly had a hand in building myself. It's because I get an immense satisfaction just out of the mastery of machinery, I guess you call it, in the bush, you know. And so working up that track was all about the journey. It was great, you know, knowing that I got this much turning circle, that I probably need a 2-pointer here and a 3-pointer there, and knowing which gear to pick, and just enjoying the noise of the diesel working its way up the hill. Here we are at the top of the mountain, and it is insane already. This is the highest part of the Brindabellas, and it's out of this world. Mate, whatever, it's worth it. This is fantastic.
Wow, look at this. What a view.
This time around, when we popped out on the top, saw those rocks, we're in the clouds, you can see Canberra in the distance. It was just the most insane view. For once, maybe not once, it's happened more than once, but it was about the destination. That destination was insane.
To end the episode, we come across this, what I call a grassy knoll. Actually, no, it's got everything in here. It's beautiful, right? Green grass, beautiful lush green grass right up to the water's edge. You look across the other side, you can see where there's been drought. You look a little bit further, the hills have just been torched with fire for as far as you can see. That's giving us everything that's happened to this place in the last month. I think we've just nailed it for the timing of doing this episode. That we've been able to capture all the footage and drive through this place instead of been through so much. It's really at one, I suppose. John talks about it all the time, being one with the land, and I really got that feeling on this episode.
Swollen rivers, burnt hillsides, massive water crossings, thunderstorms, rocks rolling down the road. This trip's all been about the sheer power of nature in Australia. know the secret of my success four-wheel driving? Tiny teddies. These ones must be the girl ones.
So I get that, it's sort of close to town, so only a couple of hours out, so it's easy to get tow trucks in there to get the Nissans out.
When the river's flowing, there ain't no going.
Chicken and bacon rolls, polished off with jelly beans.
Good vegan wrap.
Very vegan. Oh,
No, they're the good ones. They're bacon ones.
bacon lollies? Oh. Wow, okay, well I'll just have a couple of bacon lollies. And then you got the other side too, where clothing is optional. Well, it's never really appealed to me, that side of things. But it does make for some interesting views in the bush from time to time. Rather strange views in the bush, to be honest. And of course, you know, hey, if you're into naked four-wheel driving, then you've just found your heaven on earth, haven't you? Just make sure you grab the right stick when you're heading up the hills, you know.
The bushfire brigade, the bushfire brigade, the bushfire brigade, stop laughing! The bushfire brigade wrap.
Man, oh, lucky for getting pushed around. Lucky, I reckon lucky for the caravan.
Well, that's with the flap shut. Man, I had water 2 inches up the windscreen, just coming down under the mirror. Fantastic. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Why isn't Roothy getting out of the truck? Well, I can tell you why. Because this truck's got a Toyota handbrake.
Have a go at me if you want, don't care. I did it. Have you?
Sounds like me farting. Okay. As much as anything else, we got a good chance of spotting a yowie. You never know your luck.
Ah, one of those places, eh?
Yeah, you got your costume?
I do. I got it on.